make sure to hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell symbol to get notified of my new video uploads.
You know, I know a lot of you guys out there are struggling, you know, trying to make ends meet, you know, working at maybe a low-paying job temporarily until you get your career on track or whatnot. I'm going to tell you guys the motorcycles you need to avoid if you're poor.
Let's go for a ride. Watching CycleCruza's all-in-one motorcycle channel. Subscribe today.
Continue to leave video suggestions, but you may find what you're looking for by visiting my website at CycleCruza.com and click on the menu tab My Videos. And those are a bunch of playlists with all of my videos categorized in them to make it easier for you to navigate through.
This bike right here, this 2019 YZ450FX Supermoto, that I converted to a Supermoto. By the way, I did a full build series on it. I'll include the video link in the description and comment section of the video. If you're thinking of getting this bike, which is absolutely an amazing, awesome bike, it is a full-on dirt bike though. You're probably not going to want to get this if you're poor because the maintenance is rated in hours, not miles. So every 10 hours you got to do an oil change on here. And also you got to, after 100 hours, you got to do a engine overhaul top end on this bike. But if you know how to do that yourself, you could save a lot of money. So it may be okay, but it still could be quite costly. You buying oil and, you know, oil filters more often. It's not like the regular, you know, street bikes that you can go like 3,000 miles before an oil change. So this could probably be, you know, very costly if you're poor. You know what I'm saying? But if you get a WR250R like I had, you could pick up, maybe if you could find a cheap used one. Those bikes are pretty much almost maintenance free almost. You have to do very little maintenance on those bikes, man. And they are bulletproof. So that may be the bike, that's a bike to get if you're poor, most definitely. But I'm going to tell you guys, I'm attaching the tether to my airbag vest here. I tell you, I'm always going to wear this airbag vest. Try to invest in this if you're going to ride a motorcycle. This will help keep you safe. I have a link to this, my ultra lightweight carbon fiber helmet with mirror shield. My gloves, heated gloves that are battery powered, which are awesome right now here in this cold day. My Davidson winter jacket, camo pants, gloves, all my gear. I always include links in the description and comment section of my videos. Or go to my website, CycleCruza.com, and click on the menu tab, My Gear. I've had a variety of motorcycles over the years, as you guys know. And I will tell you guys that I have owned 2 Italian bikes. I currently own an Italian Aprilia Tuono V4 1100 factory, a 2017. And I own a Ducati X Diavolo S. As you guys know, is Italian as well. You want to stay away, if you're poor, stay away from Italian motorcycles. I'm going to tell you that right now, man. Because even if you can find a used one for cheap, it's probably going to need some fixing at some point, and the parts are ridiculously expensive. I'm going to give you an example here. Just for a Aprilia Tuono fuel tank, say if you dented it and you wanted to replace it, or you had some problem with the tank, the fuel tank is over $2,000 for a new tank. The Ducati X Diavolo's fuel tank costs $3,000, as where a Suzuki GSXR 1000 only costs like $900 brand new. You can get these, by the way, you can get these parts cheaper used, but you don't know how good they are. Something you may pick up a good deal, maybe a slightly used one, or maybe crappy, you don't know. That's why it's usually best to go with new. But the CBR 1000 RR, it has a tank cover, unlike nearly every other sport bike motorcycle. And the tank cover is really cheap to replace. I think it's like $300–400 for a brand new OEM one, or you can get a Chinese replacement one, and it's literally like 50 bucks. In my opinion, guys, if you want to get a sport bike and that's really cheap to own, except for insurance if you're young, The CBR 1000 RR is a really cheap bike to own, man. The thing is 100% bulletproof, reliable, and cheap stuff on it, cheap parts are easy to come by and cheaper, but Italian parts can be harder to come by, more expensive. It's nearly like double the price or more, man, for the Italian parts. And like I said, it's not nearly reliable as the Japanese bikes, man. You get a Japanese bike, you know it's going to be reliable. You can almost guarantee it, man, as long as it was taken care of. Italian bikes, maybe not so much. How some people will argue with you on that, but all you have to do is look on Consumer Reports most reliable motorcycles, and that's listed at the bottom, Ducati. I didn't really have any major problems with the X Diavo. I did have a couple of issues with it. The rear brake went out on it, and which it was a Brembo brakes recall issue, and also the belt guard encouraged rocks to hit up underneath the belt. And just to give you an example, a brand new belt to replace on the X Diavo was like, it's anywhere from $700 to $1,000 is what I was quoted. That's a lot of money compared to a chain. And that's another thing, is you might want to avoid belt driven a motorcycle, especially like a Harley Davidson. That's not a bike, also a bike you want to own if you're poor, is a Harley Davidson, because the parts are not cheap for Harley Davidsons, and they don't have the reliability that's that great, even though it has gotten better over the years. But woo! Oh, I love the torque on this bike, baby. But yeah, Harley Davidsons are not bikes you want to own if you're poor. Because the older ones are not really too reliable, man. I tell you, I grew up with my dad that loved Harleys, and that's all he did was fix them Harleys all the time, man. He even had Harley parts in the kitchen, fixing his Harley all the time, man, and his buddies' Harleys. But they have gotten better over the years, but the parts are expensive. So yeah, stay away from Harley Davidson's, Italian bikes, really European bikes, because the parts are going to be a bit more expensive sometimes. Not always. BMW is not too bad, by the way, and they're pretty reliable, BMW stuff. But they're not at the top of the list for reliable bikes. Are the Japanese bikes. Parts are going to be cheaper. But whatever you do, guys, don't be tempted to go the Chinese route and go and get one of those awesome, shiny, new, cool looking Chinese sport bikes for 1,500 bucks. Don't be tempted, guys. Don't do it. It's junk, man. I'm telling you, I had 2 Chinese scooters, and both of them were junk and died at 800 miles. And they're rattle boxes, and they're dangerous. That's the only crash I had on the street, knock on wood, was a Chinese scooter. Going around the corner in torrential rain. The tires were horrible. They slid all over the place in the rain. And yeah, I crashed out on that, and I was stupid enough to get another one. And then that one crapped out on me at 800 miles, and then I parted it all out. I parted every part out, and I actually made a profit. So it wasn't too bad. But I'm telling you, with Chinese stuff, the quality control is crap most of the time. They have a lot of loose screws. They use inferior materials, cheap screws, nuts and bolts. When I took all those parts off, guys, the screws were ridiculous. Cheap screws, cheap fasteners, just junk, man. Basically, they do a knockoff of the Japanese bikes, and then especially like the scooters, but they use inferior materials and have poor quality control, and it's just, don't waste your money on that crap, man. The takeaway from here is stick with Japanese bikes. You can get old ones for cheap. They're reliable, and parts are cheaper, easy to come by. You probably won't have to replace parts too often because they're pretty reliable. So there you go, guys. But anyways, leave a comment below and let's talk about it. What do you guys think? What is your experience with the Italian bikes, Harley Davidsons, and our Chinese scooters and Chinese motorcycles? Leave a comment below and let's talk about it. That's why I do these videos. But anyways, guys, don't forget to subscribe to my All-in-Ones Motorcycle channel. Deuces.
Thumbs up. Check out my playlist for new riders and popular videos. Don't forget to comment and subscribe, and check out my other channel, Bug Out Moto, where I customize a van for my motorcycle so I can live in my van with my motorcycle and travel across the country anywhere. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Bug Out Moto.